Before we get our design into Illustrator to cut, just try to be mindful of materials and always use as much you can of existing stuff. So I see this one, I know I can fit my keychain on here, so I'm just gonna kind of measure out where it needs to go. So I see if I go up at the top in at about 10 inches, I should be able to start my design right there. I might give it 10 1/4 just to give myself a little buffer room. But I don't need a full sheet of plywood to do my design. I can use an existing one, so I'm gonna do that in this case. Always measure and make sure you use your materials mindfully, as resourcefully as you can, so we keep as many as we can and don't waste them. All right, so I have my keychain here in Illustrator. I'm just going to move it to where I know it needs to go. So I'm going to select everything. I can actually just type in on the X and Y over here. I know it needs to go about 10 1/4. Oops. 10 1/4. And then I can move it to the very top. I like moving it in a little bit, like 0.15 or 0.25, just so it's not on the very, very edge of that. That is good to go. I'm going to double check my lines one more time. That's 0.001. That's 0.001. Make sure that my name is not, and we're good to go. All right, so now I'm going to go to File, Print, or I can do Control P. Laser cutter is basically a printer connected to the computer. I'm going to make sure that the printer here is our epilogue, and then I go to Setup. Make sure the printer here is epilogue, and now I can go to the preferences. These are the laser settings, all right? The default settings are great for our laser wood, all right? It's always good to double check, make sure that our piece size is good, whether we're rastering or vectoring or doing both like I am. And then make sure the raster settings and the vector settings match whatever numbers are on the wall. A little tip, when you go to type in new numbers, if you delete everything, it's gonna yell at you, so I always just double click it and type over it. So if I wanna make that 75 instead, I can just double click it and type right over it. All right, leave it as is for the rest of the default settings. Hit OK, then hit print, and that'll send it over to the laser where you'll see what we do next.